Alright, August update, and it's actually August. And I've done quite a few things in this past month. I reorganized this tank to make it look a little nicer. I still got some things to do, like I want to take all this sand that's in the front and then take it over to this corner so it raises it up a little higher. And then also I took all my lily pad plants from my other tanks and put them all in this spot. They got a lot of root tab down there to feed on. And I'm hoping it'll just produce an enormous amount of lily pads all across the top, all the way over here too. So hopefully it does that. We'll see what happens. The plant's pretty tough, so the goldfish don't really mess with it. Like they mess with these plants. And I'm pretty sure these plants don't grow that well because the goldfish keep nipping on them. So I just trimmed them 3 weeks ago and they've barely grown. So I'm really wanting a thick forest that goes, almost to the top where fish can get behind if they're feeling spooked. Now, I've set up 3 new tanks. So this tank down here has dwarf Sagittaria in it. It's the same plant that's in this tank, the big thick forest on each side. The same plant. So what I'm doing in here is I took all my plant trimmings from the past, several months, probably even a year worth of plants trimmings. I'd mashed them down as flat as I could, and I put them at the bottom of this tank when I set it up, and then I put the gravel on top of all those plant trimmings. So what I'm hoping is that, I already tested this before, and it definitely worked, but I'm hoping it works again, where this dwarf Sagittaria will just eat all that dead plant debris, once the snail break it down a little bit more. And they'll just start exploding. They're already growing a little bit, not fast, but like right here, it's kind of hard to see. That plant right there, new, it's about a week old. And then there's another one here that just popped up a few days ago. Maybe even 2 days ago. It's hard to even see it, but yeah. You can see the little blade of grass there. That's a new one. And then there's a little bit bigger one, right in front of the big one behind it. And I'm also hoping that, all these white rocks, the color white, algae really likes it and it'll grow on it. So I'm hoping it'll all just turn bright green, kind of like that one is back there, and the kind of front of this one. That would look really nice. And what's going to happen is once everything stabilizes in here, because there is a bunch of dead plants down underneath that gravel, so I'm sure the water isn't good. And I'll be testing it here in a few weeks. But if it tests pretty good, then I'm going to take all the tiger barbs that are in the back there, and then also the golden wonder Achilles, which I'm not really sure where they're at. Oh, there's one right there, that guy, and there's a second one somewhere. I'm going to take those guys, and I'm going to put them in this tank. I've never really felt comfortable having the tiger barb with the goldfish. When I first got the goldfish, I had them with the tiger barbs, and for like 6 months they were fine, and then the tiger started chasing the smallest one right here. Started chasing her around, and she was all stressed out. So I took them out, and then a few months later, I put them back in here with them, hoping that because it's a much bigger tank, that they won't bother them. And they haven't bothered them. But I just don't really want to have that stress on my mind of checking the goldfish fins every single day. But they haven't bothered them. They do like the space. I think what bugs them about the goldfish, though, the goldfish have no concept of personal space. They'll just, barrel right into you. They're doing it right now with this guy. So I'm sure that ticks the tiger barbs off and they want to retaliate. So after a couple of months, they'll just start going after them. I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to put them all in here once it's good. And I think the orange gravel and the green and it's kind of got some yellowish tones too. All of that will make their colors pop. They got this orange and black and bright orange look. And then the killifish, they're way back there now. When they're under the light, they got this greenish yellow look. And I think they'll look real good in here. Now next to it is another tank I set up just for shrimp. This will just be for breeding shrimp. So what I got back there, water wisteria, which is one of my favorite plants, grows real fast. These are only 2 weeks old, and they were really small, like the one in the front are. And some of them are really taking off. And this corner is growing pretty fast, but this corner is like the back two are growing faster than everything in here. And then the front three just aren't really growing that fast. I'm not sure what the deal is. So, my plan with this one is the same thing I did last year, the year before, where I just had a small 10-gallon that I just kept putting food in. I just would not stop putting food in. Anything that the shrimp can eat, I'll throw in here. I'll make sure that at all hours of the day, there's always something to eat, and they will just breed like nuts. I already have a female shrimp in here that's buried, and buried essentially just means the shrimp term for pregnant. They'll have these little yellow eggs underneath their tails. And she's not out here right now. Yeah, I don't see her. I couldn't show you, but I'm sure once I see a shrimp that's like that, I'll get it on a video. Now this right here, this floating gunk, is algae that I scraped off of a tank lid. The shrimp will always eat that. And then I also got a cucumber floating up there. I always make sure to put one of those in here whenever it's gone. Now, this tank up here, I've done a lot with his tank, trying to make it look nice, trying to find a way to have plants in here that he won't dig up. Now, these plants right here, they're pretty tough, and so he has a hard time pulling those up. They have strong roots and very strong stems, so he still gets some of them up. Like, he tore up one here, and there's only a leaf left. But once they're a certain size, he really can't do much to them, which is nice. And I'm also taking the hornwort here, which is this pine tree looking plant. And what I'll do is when they start to go a little big and they're arching at the top of the water, I'll cut it off, all these different pieces. And then I'll find one of these little small caves that I have in here, and I'll shove it into that small cave and just put it in some spot. And he has a hard time messing with those. It's a little heavy. He doesn't really bite the plants, he just bites where they're planted, and he can't really do much here. So it's starting to look really nice in this tank. I just got to fix this corner. I got to take all those caves out, take the gravel that's piled up there and even it out. And then I want to take all these bigger caves and try to bury them into the gravel, where it would take a lot of effort to do anything with them. And he's probably still going to figure it out and mess it up again, but I want to at least give it a shot, see if I can have a nice tank with this fish in it. He does not like nice things. He is a mean asshole. Yeah, he's been tearing up his scales, doing all this digging in here. I definitely want to get him in a spot where he's not doing that. He doesn't seem to care, though. Now, I set this tank up yesterday. It was a combination of being too lazy to find a place to store this tank, and then also, I really like this light. It's some light from Korea that my uncle gave me, and it's terrible at growing plants, but it does grow one plant pretty well. So I got a stem of hornwort in there in the back by the filter. You can barely see it because the water's so cloudy. But yeah, that hornwort there. When you have hornwort underneath this low light, it will grow thicker and bushier, and it just looks really pretty. It grows slow though, but it will grow gorgeous. And I'm just wanting the entire top to just be covered by that, like about that thick. And then there's an underground or whatever you want to call it, and then up here just green hornwort all the way across. That's what I'm wanting to do. I'm not really sure what I'll put in this tank. Probably just shrimp. I was looking at white clouds online, thinking I might, get those. I don't know. Hornwort is indigenous to the U.S., and then so are white clouds. I think they are. I might be wrong. But there's also rainbow shiner that I can get, and those are definitely indigenous to the U.S. It would be pretty cool to just have an American tank. We'll see what happens. I just set this up, so I don't really have many plans. Now, the last tank is this one. Now, I bought 6 new fish yesterday. I realized that my platies just are not breeding. They've been adults for over 6 months, and I have not seen a single fry. So my best guess is that they're just too inbred. You know, I haven't added any new platies to their breeding pool. It's been the same. They're all from the same original 3 that I bought like 3 years ago. And I just didn't really think about it. And I probably should have. But yeah, they're just not breeding. So I got 5 new platies. These red wags. They're orange and black or red and black. They're really pretty. And I'm hoping they'll fix that problem. All these groups will breed together and their gene pool will be strong again. We'll see what happens. And I also got a dwarf gourami. They had only 1 left. And I couldn't resist. It's my favorite fish. They're so curious. You know, they're somewhat smart. I wouldn't say really smart. Not like, you know, the big guy up there. But they're smart enough to figure some things out. So, but this time I only got 1. Normally when I get gouramis, I'll get a group of them so I can watch them fight. But the problem is that most of the time they don't hurt each other. You know, they'll swim away before any real damage happens. But I would still check every hour, every few hours to make sure none of them are hurt. And I don't want to do that this time. So I just got 1. And we'll see how he does. I think he's already doing pretty good. He sees that the other fish are calm with me being up here, so he's not freaking out. Normally, gouramis are pretty shy. They don't really like, you know, their owners just checking on them. But he seems all right. He's still figuring the tank out, doing his zoomies on the glass. After a couple of days or a couple of weeks, he'll stop doing that. I still have a platy doing that too somewhere. Yeah, she's back there in that corner. She's also doing that glass zoomy stuff. Oh, that's not the platy. That is the platy. My bad. But yeah, she's still doing her zoomies. But the other platies have settled down, realizing this is their home, and they're just chilling out. But yeah, that is the August update. It's actually August this time, unlike my other video where I thought it was August in the middle of July. Thanks for watching.